and I want to acknowledge the Aboriginal elders, past and present. I want to say that when I heard the news, and probably like you, I was fairly shocked and immobile. I was frightened. I was dismayed. I felt despair. I thought, why do I feel this about something that's happening around the world on the other side of the planet? Why is it affecting me so much? And I think it's because lately in Australia, in Western Australia, we've had a pretty hard time of it in the LGBTI community. We've been the subject of hatred and prejudice in a way that I've never experienced in my life before. And I remembered that coming out in the 80s, how important it was for me to go to a gay club. It was about the only thing I could do to feel relaxed, to be with the people I respected and loved, and to just like hold my girlfriend's hand. It was one of the few safe places that I could go and hear things like, I think way back then it was a Red Lion, it was Judy's Tavern, you know, it was the Leaderville Hotel at one time. But you always found out where it was, and you went there because you would meet people like you, and you could just be yourself. Times have changed a bit. And when pride happens, sometimes I go out to connections even now, and I see people that I haven't seen for years because we get together to celebrate community. We get together to feel safe and enjoy ourselves in a place where there is no judgment, there is no prejudice, there is no hatred. That's why it's important to have these safe spaces for us. It's really hard to explain to people who are not lesbian, gay, bi, transgender, intersex, or queer. It is almost impossible to understand what it's like to feel so other and to need those places of safety just to relax. And here, this act of homophobic hatred and violence happened in one of those precious places, in one of those places we go for safety at Pride Month, when it's the most important time to reach out to your community. And that's why it felt so wrong, and it felt like we needed to do something. We needed to stand up. We needed to share this moment because it was wrong. And so thank you to Beth Cole, who put this together and said, I'm going to do something. We're going to have a vigil. And it's people like Beth who just said, I am going to do something that make this world a better place, that have brought us all together here tonight to share our pain and to reach out to each other and to share this moment in history and say, we do not accept this. We do not accept that hatred and violence and murderous acts can happen because people are different, because people don't accept difference, or because there's a mental illness. We do not accept that, and together we can stand up and say no to that and no to every single element of it. And that is why I've asked my colleagues, the Honourable Stephen Dawson, who is here, thank you Stephen, and Lisa Baker, who is the member for Maylands. These two members in state parliament from the Labour Party and I from the Greens have been working together against this hatred and intolerance. We have faced the continual prejudice that our government is putting up at us, and we have said no in the parliament. We have said we will not accept discrimination in work. We're not going to accept less anti-bullying programs than we need. We're not going to accept less mental illness programs. We're not going to accept that the suicide rate is climbing for LGBTI people around this state, and especially in remote and regional areas. We do not accept that. We ask that love instead replace that hatred and prejudice and discrimination. We together work together, and today, in this moment of tragedy and grief and homophobic hatred, we say together, we will not let this happen again. We will together replace that hatred with love, and working together, we'll make sure that Western Australia is safe. Now, okay. I made the mistake of not preparing anything today. So I'm about to lose my candle and light a fire. But what I did want to do what I did want to do is something that, no, we'll just let it, get the smoke. Get that smoke happening. Is there an Aboriginal elder that can help us? I'm going to make the other mistake. The first mistake was not preparing something. The second mistake is singing. Singing when you haven't prepared something. But I would like to ask you all to stand up and help me with this, because this actually worked really well at the Social Worker Awards. Will you please stand with me and hold hands with your, I know it's a little bit 60s, but stand and hold hands. Maybe someone from the choir who wants to help me on this. It's someone from the choir who's brave. Come forward.
I don't know what this is.
We shall, you'll know this one. We shall overcome. You got that? Can you give me a note? You probably need to give me a note.
I didn't think I could know.
All right. If you don't know this, you'll get it by the third verse. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday.